Y'all give Brother Fonte another round of applause for that lesson. I'm Brother Jay, if anybody don't know, I'm from the Gary camp. But first and foremost, praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everybody in the name of Jesus. Tonight, the title of today's lesson is They Are Watching You. They are watching you. And see, a lot of times, which is kind of piggyback off of Fonte's lesson, is because, you know, the Lord have your spirits out here, which actually is dealing with man. And they behind the scenes. And a lot of times we are not privy to that information. But when you read through the scripture, you actually get some understanding exactly what the Lord is doing here and how we are supposed to act and deal with one another. Because when you hear a lesson like they are watching you, it almost seems like something scary or something will happen. But, hey, you should be fair because that's what's going to keep you in line. When you fear something, that always keep you together. A lot of people say, okay, I didn't heard preachers say, oh, you shouldn't fear. Oh, that's something you ain't supposed to do. Listen, fear keep you in line just like you wouldn't run a red light because you know what's going to happen, the consequences behind it. Man's been operating like that from the beginning of time, even as a youth. That's how we do. Hey, you tell a child, hey, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get a whipping because you got fear behind them. And that keeps people in line. That keeps us in check. So we're going to get into this lesson. They are watching you because the Lord have his spirits out here and they are watching you. And when you say they're watching you, it's not just the goods watching you. You got the bad spirits watching you too. And trust me, they report back to God. Okay, we're going to open up at, let's go to Matthew chapter 12. I got a couple I want to throw in here. Matthew chapter 12. And pick it up at verse 36. Matthew 12 and 36. When you get there, brother, go ahead.
But I say unto you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
Now, that's something serious right there within itself. He said every idle word. So you got to be mindful of what you say and how you talk to one another. Because I say all the time, you being judged, but who you being judged by? It's about your brothers and sisters that's right by you because them the ones you dealing with. So he said in verse 36, but I say unto you that every idle word which man shall speak, they should give an account thereof in the day of judgment. 37.
For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned.
And, hey, that goes on to what Brother Fonte's lesson was. Hey, you don't want to get caught up in the lake of fire. So, hey, by your words, that's how you're going to be judged. But let's go to Hebrews. So that's every idle word. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 2. Praise the Lord. Take your time, brother. Hebrews 2, and pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
Therefore we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip.
So just like he was saying in his earlier lesson, hey, you got to take heed for what you're hearing and doing. But go ahead.
For if the word spoken by angels was steadfast, and every transgression and disobedience received the just recompense of reward.
And he already touched on that as far as dealing with the reward that you're going to get, but go ahead.
How shall we escape if we neglect so great salvation?
And we got to take this serious. Because a lot of times we go along, like I used an analogy before, you know, it's almost like it ain't like the monks. But, you know, when I say about monks, which we know that's false religion, but we talking about just being steadfast and dedicated towards God. A lot of times we go through the day and we're not that serious about it. You got to be really serious about what's going on. Read 3 again.
How shall we escape if we neglect so great salvation,
Because that's what happens a lot of times. We neglect it, but go ahead.
which at the first began to be spoken by the Lord, and was confirmed unto us by them that heard him.
Go ahead.
God also bearing them witness, both with signs and wonders, and with diverse miracles and gifts of the Holy Ghost, according to his own will.
Go ahead.
For unto the angels hath he not put in subjection the world to come, whereof we speak.
Yep, because that's what angels are. They minister spirit, and they are under subjection. So are we. We all under subjection of God. But go ahead. Verse 6.
But one in a certain place testified, saying, What is man, that thou art mindful of him?
Just like he said, man do get puffed up. And they do get beside themselves. And they think they created everything. They come with this Scientology with a whole bunch of foolishness that's out here that they think that they can be greater than the Creator. But the Lord got something for them, but go ahead.
Or the Son of Man, that thou visitest him?
Right.
Thou madest him a little.
No, that was it.
Okay.
That was it. Let's move forward. Let's go to Revelations 22. Mm-hmm. Revelations 22. Because the Lord has his angels out. He send them out here. And they out here watching us. Revelations 22, pick up at verse 16. When you get there, brother, go ahead.
I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches.
Because that's what they do. They go to and fro. We're going to read that. We're going to see exactly what these minister spirits do. But go ahead.
I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. And the Spirit and the bride say, Come, and let him that heareth say, Come, and let him that is athirst come.
No, skip down to 18. Go ahead.
For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book.
And trust me, you can get all types of Bibles, New Testament Bibles, and they try to confuse you. They change words in there where you don't get a chance to understand exactly what they're saying. I was staying in a hotel, and I opened up the book, and I'm looking at some of the stuff on there. I'm like, what the heck is this? It's hard to understand. But let's go to Revelations. Let's go to Revelation 12, because we need to know exactly what's going on and what took place and what these spirits are actually doing. Revelation 12, we're going to pick it up at verse 7. Revelations 12, and pick it up at verse 7. This is actually in the end, but it's really the beginning. But go ahead.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
So they had war in heaven. So it was a battle going on. But go ahead.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil.
So now we know who that serpent's in, because a lot of times people think, oh, that was just a literal snake. But he just told you right here. He said that old serpent, which is the devil. Go ahead.
And Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
So now we have to understand what's going on. So now we see that they behind the scenes. He is cast onto the earth, which is right here, because it was war in heaven. And it was obviously it was some bad stuff going on up there. But once he got kicked out, know what's going on down here. He got kicked to the earth. So guess what's going on down here? We got a lot of terrible stuff down here, right where we dealing with. But go ahead.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night.
Now y'all see who the accusers are. So they not only down here. See, people think when you're dealing with Satan, it's like, oh, okay, you know, he's torturing and he's waiting to get him some victims. No, he's still a menacing spirit. He's still here doing his business. See, the Lord is so great that, hey, if you want to be evil, he got a job for you, if that's what you want. Now, the Lord even-handed, he'll bless you, but on the other side of the coin, he'll curse you. So if you want to be wicked, and if you want to be righteous, the Lord give you that. So if you want to be wicked, I'll give you that too. Hey, I'm going to give you what? Because I'm a righteous God. So that's what he chose. He wanted to be wicked. So he said, I got a job for you, dealing with the wicked. So you see that he is the accuser. let's move forward. Let's go to 1 Peter. 2 Peter, I'm sorry. Second Peter chapter 2. And we're going to read one verse. 2 Peter chapter 2. When you get there, go ahead.
Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusation against them before the Lord.
Because that's what they do. We got to understand exactly what the Lord have going on behind the scenes. And when we get through this lesson, we're going to see a whole lot of situations that's dealing with behind the scene, the spiritual aspects. Because a lot of times we live in the physical aspect, we have no understanding of the spiritual stuff. They walking to and fro on this earth. He's here. So you need to know that he's here so you're aware of what's going on. Because you don't always understand why you don't want to do some things. Because you can, I'm telling you, you can hear a lot of and countless number of people. You know, you can go from one church to the next church, and if it's a false prophet church, they'll go with you. But when it's time to come to the true and living God, they're going to have a problem with it. And they all speak the same thing. That's why he was dealing with this lesson. They all say the same thing, so you know where it's coming from. You know what's behind the scenes because they're saying the exact same thing. You can go from the East Coast to the West Coast, and it's the same problem. And they saying the same thing because that same word is out there. But go ahead. We're going to move forward. Let's go to Job because Job going to give you an example exactly what's going on behind the scenes. And what we here dealing with. Because there is spiritual, scripture says there's spiritual wickedness in high places. So we need to know exactly what we're dealing with. Because, hey, if we don't understand what's going on, we're going to find out through the scriptures, hey, you're going to be taken for a ride. And we are, and Brother Fonte shows you where that ride, the end of that roller coaster is going to be at. Trust me, you don't want to go down that end. Job chapter 1, and pick it up at verse 1. Job chapter 1 and verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feareth God and escheweth evil.
I like Job because this book teach you a whole lot. Job had a whole lot of understanding. But here, we're going to understand exactly what's going on behind the scenes. Go ahead.
And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East.
So he had a lot of substance, and he had a lot of money, but go ahead.
And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day.
We're going to read this because we're going to understand this story, what's behind the scene, what's going on, but go ahead.
And sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually.
So this is a man of God that he constantly was praying. He was even making sure he sacrificed for his children. So this man dedicated and focused. You know, trust me, dedicated and focused. Because once you read some of this and see what he went through, most of us wouldn't have made it. But go ahead.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
Now, didn't I say that he's still reporting? Now you know he's reporting in. So forget all that foolishness about he's in the ground, he's waiting to torture somebody, he's got his pitchfork, he's going to get you. Listen, dude, you want to feel somebody, you better feel the Lord, because he control everything. Right. He's the one that's pulling all the strings. Trust me. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Now you understand what's going on. When you see people getting shot and killed and dying out on the streets, we know where it's coming from. It's coming exactly from here, because where he at, he's walking to and fro on the earth and up and down in it. Terror. That's why I say when you're dealing with your brothers and sisters, mainly when you're dealing with people in the Word, and you have your little argument, always keep in mind, he's behind the scenes. If you have that mindset, you will make sure that, okay, maybe it's something else. Because he's back there, keeping up terror. He's trying to destroy you, but go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil.
Go ahead, brother.
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Does Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face.
Now that's what he petitioned. He put out there, and the Lord went along with it. But go ahead, read verse 12.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord.
Okay, so that was it on that. So now you see, hey, the Lord told him to go ahead and do it. Hey, so if you have some stuff that goes on in your life and it gets to be, drastic, keep in mind, hey, the Lord control it all. He's behind the scene. So if anything happened, hey, just deal with it. Because, hey, ain't nothing you can do about it anyway. Let's move forward. Let's go to Kings. Let's go to 1 Kings. 1 Kings 22. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
And they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel.
Now this is dealing. This was Israel when they was in their land. But go ahead.
And it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel.
Now Jehoshaphat was a righteous king, and the king of Israel was a wicked king. But go ahead.
And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know ye that Ramoth and Gilead is ours, and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Syria.
Go ahead.
And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Wilt thou go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as thou art, my people as thy people.
If you ain't been around and have read enough, this is basically after the two tribes was in the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, and the Lord separated them too. So basically they wasn't together, but they all was Israelites. But go ahead.
My horses as thy horses. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of the Lord today.
Because that's what you're supposed to do when you are a man of God. You always focus on what the Lord wants. Every time I do anything, I try my best to make sure I pray before I make a move. To do anything, you got to always pray and inquire the Lord. This ain't just some good reading for right now. This is something for you to apply your life to today. Always focus on the Lord and make sure you pray before you make any moves, because the Lord is behind everything. But go ahead.
Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king.
So basically, all the prophets that was there, and normally it's always a bunch of false prophets there, and they all were saying, hey, yeah, you go up and do it. But what happened?
And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides?
Because he knew, he said, something's wrong with this. All these prophets, they just agreeing on one code. We got to get another opinion from somewhere else. But go ahead.
That we might inquire of him. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Lord. But I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil.
Go ahead.
And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, Hasten hither Micaiah the son of Imlah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat each on his throne, having put on their robes in a void place in the entrance of the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets prophesied before them.
Go ahead.
And Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah made him horns of iron. And he said, Thus saith the Lord, with these shalt thou push the Syrians until thou have consumed them.
Yeah, because they always dramatic, but go ahead.
And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the king's hand.
But what did Micaiah say? Go ahead.
And the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spake unto him, saying, Behold now, the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth.
So he pulled them to the side and said, come on, they all on one accord now. Come on now. Let's make this right. But go ahead.
Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good.
Go ahead.
And Micaiah said, as the Lord liveth, what the Lord said unto me, that will I speak.
And see, that's what's very important, because man has always dealt with doing his own will. You know, that's why we're here on the Sabbath. Just like Fonte said, hey, we doing the Lord's will today, not our will. You got to learn some discipline. And that's what the problem was with here. Hey, they all want to do what they want to do and not what thus said the Lord. But go ahead.
So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, go and prosper.
So you know he was sarcastic with this, but go ahead.
For the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king.
He said, go ahead. Just go. You go ahead. You go prosper. Go ahead. But go ahead.
And the king said unto him, how many times shall I adjure thee that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord?
Ain't that interesting right here? That he knew. You know what I'm saying? You get so crazy. He knew that he was lying, you know? But go ahead.
And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have not a shepherd. And the Lord said, these have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace.
So now we're going to get down to show you the spiritual side, what's behind the scenes, what they're doing. But go ahead.
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil?
Because that's all he was evil. But go ahead.
And he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on this right hand and on his left.
So now we seen that in Job, what was going on behind the scenes. So now we're getting a little bit more understanding exactly what's going on behind the scenes. But go ahead.
And the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead?
So we know that this is just the Lord called a meeting behind the scenes, just like with Job, and he's showing you what the angels are doing. And he's asking them, he said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? But
and one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit, and stood before the Lord, and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets.
And we know that's going to work, because he loved to lie. He even said he did, basically. Y'all don't tell me nothing but the truth. But go ahead.
And he said, thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so.
Because he knew exactly what was going to happen. At the end of the day, he knew. He knew what was going to happen. Let's move forward. Let's go to 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 5. I'm going to read one verse. Because we have to be mindful of what's going on from day to day. Because we in a war. It's a spiritual warfare out here. 1 Peter 5 and read verse 8.
Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
And that's what's going on right now. He's walking to and fro. As you heard, he was going to and fro on the earth. And he's seeking who he devour. And he's trying to devour every last one of us if we let him. But let's go to Luke, because you're going to see exactly where Peter had this come from. Let's go to Luke chapter 22. And pick it up at verse. We're going to read one verse. Luke 22 and 31. When you get there, go ahead.
And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat.
And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to destroy us. He's trying to destroy us. So we got to make sure that we on guard all day, every day about what we doing. Because we read earlier that, hey, you're going to be accounted for every idle word. So if you can be accounted by every idle word, you got to make sure that you have your ducks lined up in the row, because it's dangerous out here. And he's out behind the scenes. And now that we know that he's behind the scene and what he's all about, we got to make sure we be aware of that. So like I say, when you're dealing with your brothers and sisters, because this is who you being judged by. Everybody that's sitting right next to you in front of you. Like the fall purpose said, take a look at your brother and sister. Hey, listen, the ones just next to you, that's going to get you in the kingdom or not, on how you treat one another. Because that's what it's all about. Because they're the ones you dealing with. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 3. Praise the Lord. First Peter chapter 3. We're going to pick it up at verse 10. Mm-hmm. 1 Peter chapter 3. And pick it up at verse 10.
For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips that they speak no guile.
Hey, that's what we was talking about. Make sure that you, every idle word, but go ahead.
Let him eschew evil and do good.
Because we read that's what Job did. That's exactly what he did. He eschewed evil, but go ahead.
Let him seek peace and ensue it.
And that's what we're supposed to do as individuals out here. We are supposed to be seeking peace and always seeking peace. Hey, if you get rebuked, hey, praise the Lord. Hey, because, I tell people all the time, you say, well, people, I don't never want to get a chance to, nobody never say nothing good to you. Hey, if everybody always saying something negative to you, that's good. So how's that good? Because, that's going to make you a better person. Take heed to it. But go ahead.
For the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil.
Hey, because they are all watching, and we seen that. They watching you and making sure that, hey, whatever you're doing, they jotting it down. Because it's every idle word. But let's go forward. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 15. Proverbs 15. We're going to pick it up at verse 1 when you get there. Go ahead.
A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
And listen, that's all true. I got a story that happened like that. A guy, he was like some road rage. And the guy got out the car, just to make it real short. Got out the car, he was mad and all that because I was driving a little slow. And I just told him, you know what, brother, I'm sorry. It's my fault. He didn't even know what to do. He was just stuck like. And I knew he had something on him, but he was frozen because, hey, it tells you right here. Read that verse again.
A soft answer turneth away wrath.
It turns away wrath. Because he wanted me to get crazy with him. But see, hey, behind the scenes, we know what's going on. But go ahead.
But grievous words stir up anger.
Go ahead.
The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright.
That's what you're supposed to do, but go ahead, brother.
But the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness.
Hey, and as I act foolishness, trust me, I'd have been in the grave. Just foolishness. Over what? To traffic? Go ahead, brother.
The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good.
They watching everything, but go ahead.
A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perseverance therein is a breach in the spirit.
Because, hey, it's on both sides, but go ahead.
A fool despiseth his father's instruction, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent.
Yeah, that's good. That's good right there, brother. Let's go to Luke. Luke chapter 12. Luke 12, we're going to pick up at verse 1. Luke 12 and 1. When you get that, brother, go ahead.
In the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trode one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all,
go ahead.
Beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known.
Because they writing everything down. You are being watched, but go ahead.
Therefore, whatsoever you have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light.
Go ahead. So
and
it ain't like you can, you know, a lot of times we walk around, and sometimes people, they say, they see a pastor, or you see somebody else, the deacon, or that, they hide from them. But hey, you should be hiding from the Lord. It don't matter what they ain't got no hellfire for you. So you should be high for the Lord. So every time you think you're gonna do something, hey, the Lord's watching you. And whatever's in the darkness is gonna be in the light. It's been written down. But go ahead.
And that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops.
Yeah. So hey, whatever he's saying, letting you know, whatever this is going on and what's being said or you think is being hid, hey, it's just like being on the rooftop. Just like Brother Fonte said, you supposed to be preaching on the rooftop. Well, your foolishness is on the rooftop too. But go ahead.
And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do.
And that's what Fonte was dealing with. Well, let's go ahead, read that fifth verse.
But I will forewarn you whom ye shall fear. Fear him which after he hath killed hath power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him.
And he dealt with that. But let's go further. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 12. We're going to pick it up at verse 9. Ecclesiastes 12 and 9. When you get there, go ahead.
And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge.
Like he said, you better make sure you should be reading and understanding for yourself, because your salvation is on the line. You have to save yourself. But go ahead.
Yea, he gave good heed and sought out and set in order many proverbs.
Go ahead.
The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth.
Go ahead.
The words of the wise are as gold, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd.
Go ahead.
And further, by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books, there is no end.
Because, hey, you got a lot of people, and they do, I got the Apocrypha, I got the, listen, it ain't no end to that. And you ain't even got the understanding of this book. Trust me, this book gonna last you a lifetime. Right. You don't need no more. This is too much. Trust me, way too much. But go ahead.
And much study is a weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
Now, this is what I was reading when I was saying before. And I'm going to show you something, but go ahead.
Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
And now, that's it says the whole duty. And I read the other book, and it said, fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty. But that book said, fear God and keep his commandments, for this is man's all. I'm like, and see, the duty makes a difference, because this, you need to get on board, get going. But see, Satan is slick. He's trying to keep you from doing something. So he said, this is man's all. Okay. Let's go to Deuteronomy 10. Deuteronomy 10, we're going to pick it up at verse 12. We're going to notice where this comes from. Deuteronomy 10 and verse 12. When you get there, brother, go ahead.
And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee? But to fear the Lord thy God.
Because that's what we said earlier. That's what's going to keep you in line. The fear is what keeps you in line. Because trust me, without that, we all going to be out the door right now. We wasting our time. But hey, we know what's going to come. And like Brother said, Fonte said, hey, we know what's on the end if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So that's what keeps us in line. But go ahead.
To walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Go ahead.
To keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good.
And trust me, we have to understand that what it's saying there, he said in verse 12, he said, and now Israel, what doeth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to love him and to serve the Lord with the God, with all thy heart and with all thy soul. So that means you focus and you diligent about serving the Lord. To keep his, verse 13 say, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes we command you this day for thy good. Trust me, it's for your good. It ain't for nobody else. That's for your good. Let's move forward. Let's go to Joshua 24. They watching you, and your life depends on this. We don't always see it and look at it like that. But hey, if you all just take the time and think about it, if you was to knew that you can die right now, you'll be more focused. You know what I'm saying? You'll be more focused. But hey, this is your life on the line. And trust me, it's worse than the first death. Trust me. Joshua 24. We're going to pick it up at verse 14. Joshua 24 and 14. When you get there, go ahead.
Now therefore fear the Lord, and serve him in sincerity and in truth.
In truth. And that's what Ahab wanted him to tell him, the truth. But he was a wicked king. And if you read more on that story, you know he didn't last too much long after that. But go ahead.
And put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord.
So now when you read this, you think, you tend to have that mindset like, oh, okay, well, they don't do that no more. I don't see nobody really bowing down there. That's crazy stuff they was doing back then. Trust me, Satan is so slick behind the scene. The stuff that you've been doing all your life is exactly what you're doing right now. And it's the same thing here. This ain't something that was for back then. And, that's old stuff, people don't bow down. They don't be bringing no idols out there. Dude, when it just 25th, just what you think that was? You know what that was. But go ahead.
And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve.
Because the Lord the Lord don't matter. He said, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. We all free agents. You can do what you want to do. You can walk out of here today and never come back. But he said, hey, make that choice. Because at the end, you're going to get your just reward. The Lord, he tell you just reward, even though it's going to be something wicked. Lord tell you stuff like, I will destroy you wonderfully. He put words together like that, man, and mess you up. But go ahead.
Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Yeah, because that's what we going to do. We're going to stay focused. We're gonna walk that walk. But go ahead.
And the people answered and said, God forbid that we should forsake the Lord to serve other gods.
Go ahead.
For the Lord our God, he it is that brought us up and our fathers out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, and which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went.
Now, see, a lot of times you see stuff, you say, oh, sights, I will believe if I see that. Hey, listen, you believe, you won't believe, say, well, if I saw a miracle, I would do it. You reading it right now. You got more of a testimony. You seeing it right now in black and white, but go ahead.
And among all the people through whom we passed.
Go ahead.
And the Lord drave out from before us all the people, even the Amorites, which dwelt in the land. Therefore will we also serve the Lord, for he is our God.
Go ahead.
And Joshua said unto the people, ye cannot serve the Lord, for he is an holy God. He is a jealous God. He will not forgive your transgressions nor your sins.
Go ahead.
If you forsake the Lord and serve strange gods, then he will turn and do you hurt.
Man, this is who you dealing with. Don't worry about Satan in that crazy pitchfork and red suit. Hey, listen. He said he would turn. He said, if you forsake the Lord and serve strange God, he would turn and do you hurt. See, that's all I need to know.
Right.
We'll see who's behind the scenes. Say, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm going to do what I need to do because he going to hurt you. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, this is the God you dealing with. People think they're playing, people joke, oh, yeah, I'm going to eat some swine. You don't know who you playing with. You don't know. He going to do you some hurt, but go ahead. And
consume you. After that, he had done you good.
Hey, he would turn around and do you some hurt after he do you good. Man, you got to find out about this God. He ain't to be played with. But let's go to Revelations, the last one. Revelation chapter 20. Revelation chapter 20. We're going to pick it up at verse 12. When you get there, brother, go ahead.
And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. And the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works.
And guess who? They was jotting this down. They've been jotting it, they still writing it down. So you want to make sure that your name is written in there, but go ahead.
And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and the dead and hell delivered up the, and death and hell delivered up the dead, which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to their works.
Fonte broke that down about death and hell, but go ahead.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death.
And now you know where you're going, because he broke that down just earlier. Read the last verse, brother.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire.
Go ahead.
This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
Thank y'all for your time.